You don't know this, don't you? You already tell you we have problem with the friend that tell me.
She said he has a problem because his friends came from China and they were escaping without completing their 14 days of self-quarantine. They were running to DRC for work. So now we arrested them at the border point in Zombo. They have been brought back. Talk to him.
What next after arresting these people?
Thank you so much. Right here in Chibuli CID headquarters, I am in the company of security personnel together with the RDC of Zombo district. As we all know, the government of Uganda has put very clear guidelines for self-mandatory isolation. And we've got a group of nationals from China, the Chinese nationals, who came into the country and they started very well with self-isolation. But along the way, they violated the principles of self-isolation and they were actually intercepted at the border crossing into Congo, that is along Zombo in Goli border, and they have been brought back under the directive of His Excellency the President. And the President gave a directive that these people should be produced in the courts of law because we have very clear policy and the laws of this country put into us consideration the Public Health Act, which has been subjected into all this happening into our country. And as we can see clearly, these nationals has violated the principles that have been put to keep our people safe and away from risk. So they will be produced in courts of law here in High Court, in Nakawa High Court, so that the law takes its course and they are persecuted according to what will be found.
We've had reports that these Chinese nationals were in the company of other Ugandans. Why these Ugandans?
We've got 4 Chinese nationals and 2 Ugandan nationals, and they've hired a taxi from the Ugandan nationals, a driver and a wife, who is taking these people all the way from Kampala up to Zombo. And right here, they have been brought back. They are going to stay in a very safe place. After that, they will be produced to courts of law. This is going to set signal to the people of this country, most especially those who are under mandatory quarantine. The president of this country has made it very clear. This is a war that he's spearheading, and he's really heading it with a tough directive to this country. So anybody who will be found to violate the principles of mandatory, the law is going to deal with it.
Kajoingi Andrew is my name, Resident District Commissioner Zombo. On the 10th of this month at around on the 20th of this month at around 11 a.m. I got a telephone call from my security operatives at the border entry point called Padea in the Zombo district, that there were 6 Chinese who were from Kampala. They wanted to cross to Congo. Given the sensitivity of the coronavirus, I told my security operatives to hold the 6 Chinese and the 2 Ugandans to give me time to cross-check with the Immigrations Office in Entebbe and the Ministry of Health. Indeed, I started with the Immigrations Office. When they checked the records, they told me these people entered Uganda on the 10th and they were put on self-quarantine in Kibuli African Hotel. Self-quarantine should have taken 14 days, which will elapse actually tomorrow. So they will be officially allowed to move on the 25th. But on the 10th day, they violated the 14 days given, which was on the 20th, they decided to go. Actually, they sneaked out of the area of confinement. So on getting this information from immigration, I called the Ministry of Health, particularly Honorable Joyce Mori Kukaduch, the State Minister for primary health care to seek a sense of direction. She also consulted the father, and the directive which came is that these Chinese be brought back to Kampala for violating the Ministry of Health procedure.
As I talk about the measures, allow me to thank the security personnel of this country. So far, they have demonstrated the ability of being vigilant, being very alert, and to ensure that the Ugandans are safe. This is one of the great jobs that they have done to ensure that foreigners who wish to escape before their mandatory days of isolation are intercepted at the border. Congratulations, and I give you a big credit. And I appeal to all Ugandans, let's be vigilant. Let's really watch out and ensure that people who are supposed to be isolated remain and completed their 14 mandatory days of self-isolation or institutional isolation. Now, it is very clear. The directives of the president is very clear and we must follow. It's a must. All border points are going to be closed, and there are specific border points that will remain open for cargo trucks, and which cargo trucks we are going to have only 3 people, the driver, the turnboy, and other person. And at those border points, there is going to be healthcare professionals to screen these people. So I want to appeal to our people, let's stick to those directives, stay at home and follow the directives of the ministry. Finally, my appeal is for the people who are under mandatory institutional quarantine. Please adhere to the game. It is for a short period of time to protect you, to protect our people, and to protect the country. Let's not escape. If you escape, the law will deal with you. I thank you.